Frank Saravalli had his yearly Valentine's Day tradition, playing hockey's love doctor, 2025 trade deadline matchmaker article. And Liam, he's got a player on there who he has matched up with the Edmonton Oilers. And I know people are thinking, ooh, is it Ristolainen? Is it Provorov? Is it Mike Matheson? Is it some flashy top six winger? No, it's Michael McCarron of the Nashville Predators.
God damn it. You know what? When I love reading that article Frank puts out every year, and I just hope that the Oilers are linked with someone promising. Like, a second-round pick for Michael McCarron would honestly be the most disappointing thing the Oilers have done at the trade deadline since Jared Smithson.
Yep. I don't see a reason to trade a second-round pick for that guy. I kind of see a reason to trade a fifth-round pick for that guy or a fourth-round pick for that guy. But let me just give you a few things here. So what are the pros for Michael McCarron? He is a very big boy, Liam. 6'6", 232 pounds. He can kill penalties as well. And he comes with term this year and next year, $900,000. Okay, that's the good. Now let's get to the bad. He gets caved at 5-on-5 pretty much all the time. He can't skate at all. I went and looked at NHL Edge, and in all the speed metrics, he is below the 50th percentile, which is the toughest grade they will give someone because they want to protect their feelings or whatever. So he's below the 50th percentile in skating. He does not skate well at all. He is bad at 5-on-5, and so far this season, in 46 games, he's scored 2 goals in 46 games. He only has 7 points. His career high is 12 goals in 70 games last season. Spending a second-round pick on Michael McCarron would be so, and this isn't like Frank is doing this more from like here's what his value could be. I think the Oilers are a match. Here's what they'd have to pay to make it happen. Like, I don't want this to come off as a shot at my boy Frank Saravalli, who I love dearly. But if the Oilers trade a second-round pick for Michael McCarron, I think it will be the stupidest possible thing they could do at this trade deadline.
1,000,000%. Whatever the highest percentage of agreements I can give to you, I will give it to you right now. I'm just looking back over like the last couple of years of players that have been traded who are bottom 6 players. Pat Maroon was a conditional 5th-round pick last season. That's probably fairly similar. Sorry, conditional 6th-round pick. Kyle Okposo, conditional 7th. I know it's maybe a little bit different because Buffalo's straight into a cup contender, but like either way, like the fact that we're even in a conversation of trading a second-round pick, which would be St. Louis Blues second-round pick, so whatever that would be, a non-playoff team for second-round pick, I guess we can call it, is crazy. Like Anthony Beauvillier, 5th-round pick. That's the highest one. Like Brandon Duhaime, a little bit different, I feel like, because he could skate, was a 3rd-round pick. Like, come on, we can't do this. Surely.
It's insane. It's just crazy to me. I don't understand it at all. I would not be trading a second-round pick for Michael McCarron. Like, if he had, like, I know, so there was the talk about Mathieu Olivier, right? And even that, I'd be very hesitant to trade a second-round pick for Mathieu Olivier, and he's a pending UFA, granted, $1.1 million, but at least he's shown this year that he can maybe score you a goal or two. Michael McCarron is not scoring you a goal or two at all. Like, the idea that this guy gives you anything other than being big and hitting, what does he do that Kasperi Kapanen does not?
Nothing. He's big, besides being big, and Kapanen plays fairly big for his size, to be fair to him.
Yeah. We just put a poll up in the YouTube chat. If this thing ends at anything lower than 90% in the no column, I am going to be rather upset with a question. Given that teams know we're desperate and will go for a push this year, are prices naturally inflated for us? Maybe, but I don't know. I think if you're looking for a right shot defenseman, teams know they kind of have you pinned. Everything else, like, the Oilers don't really have a clear need up front, so it's not like they're shopping in a limited market or whatever where teams could do that. So I think I'd say no to that question. Like, yeah.
I would say no as well. I think just looking back at the last 2 Stanley Cup champions, last season Florida, and again, a bit different of a scenario for both these guys. Okposo for a 7th, and Vladimir Tarasenko for a 3rd-round pick. You look back at Vegas the year before, they got Ivan Barbashev for Zach Dean, who was like, I know he's a 1st-round equivalent, but he was like their 3rd or 4th best forward prospect that they had. Like, I don't think teams really look at that because, like, there's so if you had that mindset, there's so many teams who are trying to win a Stanley Cup that you would just get nothing. Like, you wouldn't end up trading these guys if your value is so high on things. So, no, I don't think that would be the case, Mackay and Dre, either.
Yeah, based Ivy. If you're trading for someone like McCarron, who forechecks on the wing and is 6'6" and can actually score, just go for Justin Brazeau. And I'm with you on that. Like, there's better Michael McCarrons out there than Michael McCarron. If he was a waiver claim, even then I'd be like,
He has another year left, too.
It's crazy. I know. Which, again, it could be a good thing or could be a bad thing, I suppose. You can bury it, so I guess it's a good thing. But I don't like the McCarron idea one bit. One bit. Go get Trent Frederick if you're trading a 2nd-round pick for a bottom 6 guy.
Who else was on Frank's on that one? I saw Scott Lawton was a 1st-round pick to Washington. Brock Nelson was Winnipeg, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so Lawton went from the Philly to Washington for a 1st-round pick. Like, if you're going to trade your 2026 2nd-round pick for, again, Michael McCarron, just trade the 1st-round pick that you have because the gap between the picks is not that big, and go get Scott Lawton, who can actually play hockey. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, Frank had Lawton going to Washington for a 1st. He had Brock Nelson going to Winnipeg for a 1st, Rasmus Kupari, and a 3rd. He had Rasmus Ristolainen going to Dallas straight up for Leon Bichelle. Then he had McCarron going to Edmonton. Then he had Kyle Palmieri going back to New Jersey for a 2nd and a 3rd-round pick, and Jake Evans going to Toronto for a 2nd and Roni Hirvonen.
See, for me, Frank rounds it out there. Jake Evans and Kyle Palmieri are going for 2nd-round picks at this deadline because they're scoring wingers, and historically, that is the value of a scoring winger. Tyler Toffoli was a 2nd-round pick last year. There's very few players that actually cost you a 1st-round pick. I think I looked back and the last few, the average was around 7 players traded. And we're talking about, like, great players, not great players, like upper echelon players of trade deadline, like Noah Hannafins of the world, guys like that. So, yeah, a 2nd-round pick for McCarron doesn't make a lot of sense for me.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.